culture trait. Culture trait. Then we have culture complex. Then we have culture pattern, and culture area. ठीक है? So these are the 4 components of culture, and within this 4 component we will see how we are arranging the entire thing. So culture trait is the most basic element of culture. Now what are the basic element? You can see in your own culture which are the basic practices which further cannot be broken down. For example, suppose the moment we met through this class, everyone greeted each other, right? Good evening, good afternoon, whatever. Now this habit of greeting is the smallest unit or smallest element. There can be various other things also, but this greeting cannot be broken further. Jaise if you think about an organism. So in an organism, what is the smallest unit? The cells, right? Now the cells cannot be further broken down. Yes, there is component within cells as well, but in a broader sense we can say the smallest unit of life is cell. Okay? When you combine various cells together in a functional way, it creates a tissue. When you combine various tissues together in a functional way, it creates organs. And when you combine various organs together in a functional way, it creates the organism. ये समझ में आता है? So in biology also, if you see, so we have cells, tissues, organs, and organism. So we are seeing that the smallest unit will be cell. When you combine various cells together in a functional way, it creates tissues. When you combine tissues in a functional way, it creates organs. And when you combine organs in a functional way, it creates organism. So if you understand this flow, similar flow can be applied to culture as well. Not exactly replica, but we can understand the functional parallels. ठीक है कि similarity तो है दोनों structures में, and also the way organisms are designed. Eventually when you see everything in the society, everything in the world is designed in a similar way. The structure of universe and a structure of atom both are similar, right? Because the life is happening in a way which organizes itself in the similar fashion, similar laws of life. So when we are creating something which helps us survive, which is culture, will also have a similar kind of structural pattern, right? So now if we go back to see what culture traits are, so think about smallest elements in your life that naturally becomes the culture trait. For example, the kind of clothes you are wearing. So the clothes is the material culture trait. The kind of language you are speaking is non-material culture trait. If you are performing a ritual, in the ritual which all aspects you are fulfilling, for example, if you are doing a puja, worship, usme you will offer water, you will offer flowers, you will offer some kind of roli, etc. You will offer prasad. All of these are individual cultural traits, and when you combine various culture traits together in a functional way, it becomes a culture complex. इसको ध्यान से समझना. Individual culture traits, when they combined together in a functional way. So, offering a flower is culture trait, but only offering flower cannot be said as a ritual or a puja. Offering water in individual, it's a trait. Chanting mantras in itself is a trait. Keeping an idol is in itself is a trait. Offering prasadas to God in itself is a trait. But when individually, when you look at it, they don't have functional meanings. But when you combine them together in a process, it becomes doing puja. है ना? So doing puja is not a trait, it is a complex. Because that act of puja can be further subdivided into these smaller traits. So whenever you have to see something is a trait or a complex, ask this question, that whether we can further subdivide it or not. If you can, this must be a complex, not trait. If you cannot further subdivide, that means it is the smallest unit, which invariably becomes culture trait. यहां तक समझने में कोई दिक्कत? You can ask. Any doubts? No. Okay. So first heading you will write culture trait. The thinker's name which you need to write when you are explaining culture trait is Melville Herskowitz. Herskowitz. He defines culture as a culture trait is the smallest identifiable unit of culture. You can write it down. A culture trait is the smallest identifiable unit of culture. It is the smallest identifiable unit of culture. In the next line you write A.L. Kroeber. After writing this, next line, A.L. Kroeber. If you can recall A.L. Kroeber, thinker we have discussed yesterday, what characteristics has he given? Can anyone recall? A.L. Kroeber. Diffusion, yes, he is a diffusionist. For culture, he said it is super organic. है ना? That characteristics you can relate with A.L. Kroeber. So this is the way. See, last, yes, transmitted. Abhishek, yes.